Hello, my name's Phil McAleer,
And my name is Anne McElhenney, and
and
welcome to the Anne
welcome.
and Phelim Scoop.
Yes, indeed. Well, as you can see, we're not in the same locations. Where are you, Anne McElhinney?
I'm in Los Angeles, in the Sunshine Film, and you are, where are you?
I'm in New York. We are, as you know, we're having the October 7 play. It's going to be in Bowdoin, Maine, at Bowdoin College in Maine on Thursday at
Yeah,
7:30 in Pickard Theatre. If you know anyone in Maine, please go there. Uh, please send them the link. Bowdoin. There's October 7 Bowdoin.com. We'll talk about that at the end about the October 7 play and how important. But I suppose it's an event. It's bringing the truth to college campuses, and we want to really devote most of the show to someone who was trying to bring the truth to college campuses
yes.
and died because of that. And we are part of that tradition. It's very important. It's never been more important to bring the truth to college campuses. Charlie Kirk did that, tried to do that, uh,
It's
and paid
absolutely
for.
shocking. I mean, everyone is just absolutely shocked by what's happened. I mean, this is extraordinary. This is has been an extraordinary week. Just like completely shocking that a
Yes,
young man who's on campus, doing like just answering questions, trying to debate, trying to engage people who don't agree with him in a
yes.
really civil way, in a really nice way,
Oh,
actually, kind of
yes.
smiling and being really, really chummy with people and
What
having
they
fun and being really respectful, actually.
what they don't understand is Charlie was one of the nice guys
Yes.
in terms
Yeah,
of debate, and he was possibly more respectful than I would be in many of those situations.
I think so. I know you.
Everyone has their own
There's,
style and everyone has their own way of communicating, and let's just say mine would be more direct. And I think yours would be too. But and we need all styles of communication.
I
But
think a lot of people are feeling like that this is like almost like a turning point, the same as the name of his organization.
yeah,
I mean, everyone's going to remember where they were when they heard about this, and I was not with you, Philip. I was here in Los Angeles, and
mhm.
Melissa Howes, who's the manager of who works with Mark Stein, she wrote and said, she texted me. We're in a group chat with
Yes.
people who were on the Mark Stein cruise, the speakers who were on the Mark Stein cruise, and they're constantly kind of writing about news. So she wrote and
Mm.
said, "This has happened." So I immediately went, online. I went, watched, put the TV on, and at the beginning, and I think we want to start by talking about that. At the very beginning, people were posting the video, the raw footage
Yes.
from the campus, and I have to say, my first reaction was I didn't believe it. I thought
Yes.
it
No,
looked, I thought it looked fake. I thought it looked like somebody had, created that. So I was actually saying, that to them. I wrote that into the group, and I said, I don't know if this is real. And you actually
yes.
felt very much the very same, film, right?
Well, I immediately wrote to everyone in the Unreported Story Society, all the journalists, and everyone's social media. I said, do not write anything about this. This could be AI. Do, do not even post about it. Don't repost anything. Stop what you're doing now until we check this out, because this is what they do. This is what bad people do. So let's make sure that this is genuine. And
And that has
it
been very
was.
much our way of going forward through every last part of this, with every part of it that's been reported.
Yes.
We're like really, really cautious. Let's wait. Let's make sure of the source of this information.
Yes.
Because in a situation, I think you said, and it very well, like, because you've been in war situations, like in Northern Ireland,
Yes.
it's a great place for misinformation. Like, it's a great place for people saying stuff that's not actually true. People saying, I heard something, and then saying it like it's a real thing. So people have to be very cautious.
Sometimes for the worst motives and sometimes for the best motives. Like I sent out a Substack after the shooting saying, here's what to watch out for, in the disinformation. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean,
Yes.
there's people can, and I use the example of when I was a journalist. I was the night editor at the Irish News in Belfast, and there was a shooting, and some of a man, and the police, of course, don't release the names immediately.
Hmm.
They wait always to the next day, and when you're up against a nighttime deadline, you want to get as much details of the incident as possible. I spoke to a neighbour. The neighbour identified him as X, and then I spoke to the local councillor of that for that area, and I said, "Can you confirm, is it X?" And he says, "It's totally X." And I can't remember if we ran with the name or not. I think we did, and it turned out to be X's brother.
Mm-hmm.
And Of
You learned
course,
a lesson. You learned a hard lesson that day.
well, it was two sources. The neighbor
Hmm.
was mistaken, but the local politician didn't want to show that he didn't have the inside knowledge.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah.
Politicians will fill gaps. Politicians will say they're not reliable sources. You should be as skeptical of politicians, in all circumstances. So there's a lot of misinformation out there, sometimes for the best of motives. Be very careful with the information you see.
But
Also,
we're recording today. Like we're recording on Monday after this assassination, and
mhm,
there is a lot of information now. There is
yes,
an enormous amount of information now, and in fact,
correct.
somebody is has been arrested and charged. I believe
Yes.
charged, or maybe not charged quite yet.
That's good. I mean, they have a funny systems here of
Hmm.
indictments and charges, and it's and when they can plea and when they can't, and when it, they have a person of extreme interest in custody. It looks the alleged shooter, and as a journalist, we should say that this is
Yes,
there's still no confirmation that
that's
until
right.
he pleads guilty or until he's found guilty. We
Yes,
should say the alleged shooter. However,
yes.
all the information seems to point to Tyler Robinson, a young man from a conservative background who looks like he is living with a trans person.
Somebody who's
Uh,
transitioning. Yes. But
yes,
interestingly enough, it seems from all the information as well that the person who is living with him, living with Tyler Robinson, who is this trans-identifying person or somebody who's transitioning or whatever, it looks like that guy has actually been very cooperative, and was really helping the authorities. And I think that seems to be part of the story. But as you said,
yeah.
Phil, the information is coming out, slowly, drip by
Well,
drip. But
I
certainly
would
we're not.
I would be skeptical. I think that if I was in the FBI and I wanted this person to cooperate and give me all the passwords and show me the secret phones and all that, I would quietly release information that he's been so cooperative and so nice.
Yes,
We
yes,
don't know what
yes.
went on behind closed doors before the shooting, and I'm not casting any aspersions on someone I don't know. But look, there is a short but extremely violent history of trans shootings and violence in the
Yes,
United States.
unfortunately, the list is getting very long. I mean, it's
Yes, and it's only a
extraordinary.
short time, so let's just hold back the plaudits until we get, just as we were saying earlier, until we get more information.
So
Um,
the reaction to this horrific, and I mean, just absolutely horrific assassination of this
yes,
peaceful man, by the way, whose only weapon was debate, has been really, really extraordinary. And we have our own, stories of things. I mean, I have stories from friends in Europe whose children celebrated. And this celebration among young people is something we have found very deeply disturbing. And really, it's so much of it, by the way. So for those of you who don't spend an enormous amount of time on social media, you may not be aware of just how vitriolic and hateful so many young people are. And we've just made a short montage of some of them, and we're going to play it now, and we'll
yeah.
talk about that
We
afterwards.
we should point out this is not pleasant listening. We're going to bleep swear words,
Yes,
but um, this is not pleasant listening. I think you
but I
should
think
listen
it's
to it.
I think it's really important. It's almost more important actually to look at the faces of these people almost when,
Yes.
rather than even what they say. They're full of
So
venom. They're full of hate. So
So
let's
watch it
play
on
that.
watch our podcast on YouTube if you want to get the full. I don't know what word would you use to describe the full.
Well, as I said,
If,
looking at the faces of these people is actually instructive. So let's play
yeah,
that
let's.
play that tape.
Mhm.
Why are you empathizing and sympathizing with him? I don't care that he was a person. He wasn't to me.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. To everyone saying that it was such a senseless, violent act, I want you to remind yourself that it was God's plan.
So the day after Charlie Kirk died, I was in class. My teacher said, I'll give you 5 minutes for hot takes about Charlie Kirk. I was the only person who raised their hand. I said, I've been saying we need to bring back political assassinations. I don't feel bad, and I don't think that everyone deserves the right to free speech. I think some people should be afraid to express their opinion in public.
I actually genuinely believe that Charlie Kirk's children, especially his daughter, would have been in more danger had his life continued on.
So their dad was an abusive white nationalist that didn't believe in women having rights, and he had daughters. It's a disgusting thing to say, but it's true.
So in light of this beautiful news, I would like to propose that we turn Charlie Kirk into a verb. For example, I think that Stephen Miller needs to be kirked.
I'm surprised that y'all didn't get rid of him sooner. And I'm surprised that you guys aren't getting rid of more people. Like, don't stop with him. Don't let him be the end all. Get rid of them all.
He's dead, y'all. Thank God. One down, couple more to go. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead.
Homie dead. Yo, homie dead. Look at that. Yo, homie dead. He shot in the head.
Man trampled a memorial for Charlie Kirk at the Turning Point headquarters in Phoenix. Our photographer on the scene says the man kicked over flowers, vases, and balloons.
So, I mean, so that's obviously incredibly disturbing. And just like, how do you explain it? And we have an explanation, a very an equally disturbing, by the way, explanation. This didn't happen in a vacuum. This hate, these hate-filled young people. And one of the things I was thinking about was, I don't remember hate like that when I was at school. I don't remember young people speaking like that in school. And it's everywhere. There's a huge amount of this stuff all over the place. And then, just when you're thinking that, there is an explanation. There is an almost as frightening an explanation, and that is when you start to see equally on social media, all over social media, teachers and professors gleefully celebrating the death and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And we have a tiny selection of these that we thought we'd bring to your attention. So this first one here, and there's actually a video that goes with this one, is Professor Joseph DeRosier of Bowdoin College in Wisconsin. He's an assistant professor of modern languages and literature. And he reposted a TikTok video from somebody who basically said that today, and this is just after this assassination, the guy was a little bit less of an atheist because he said a man that was spewing hate was shot right in the voice box. Let's play that video.
Thoughts and prayers, whatever. He got shot in the voice box. The guy who made a living spewing evil, hate-filled rhetoric died from getting shot right in the voice box. I might be 1% less atheist today. Like, that's just too, nah.
And then we have a Greensboro, North Carolina Community College professor, Lisa Greenlee. She was filmed telling students, by the way, I'll praise the shooter. He had a good aim. So she said that to the actual students. He brought karma down on himself, she said, and she called him a bag. By the way, some of these people are facing disciplinary action, and we're going to talk about that at the end. But do you want to talk about the next one here, Samantha Marengo, Philip?
Samantha Marengo, who is a special education teacher at an elementary school.
School.
She filmed a video singing God Bless America and then panned to the word dead on a TV screen with the announcement of Kirk's murder.
And then we have Brittany Reed, who is a permanent substitute teacher at the Monarch Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. And I think one of the things, and one of the reasons these are all over the country. They're everywhere. You don't have to go searching for them, Brittany posted a clip of the shooting and then cut to herself saying, oh no, thoughts and prayers. Actually, let's look at her because she is really, really hateful.
Counting or not counting game?
Oh my God. Go, run. Oh no, thoughts and prayers.
And then, Philip, who do we have next?
Dean of Students at Chesterfield County Public Schools in Virginia posted, Charlie Kirk, you reap what you sow.
Yeah. And then we have Wayne. We have Wayne Bollock.
Win.
Wynn Bollock, who teaches social studies. And by the way, I think it's important as well what some of these people teach. He teaches social studies at Southside High School, part of the Greenville County Schools in Greenville, South Carolina, by the way. By the way, Greenville, South Carolina. I mean, I have a very clear memory of doing a speech in Greenville, South Carolina, where people were so sweet and so nice, you know, Southern charm and all of that. And this guy, Wynn, has written, he said, thoughts and prayers to his children, but in my humble opinion, America became greater today. There, I said it. He posted, proudly posted, by the way. We're not outing these people. These people outed themselves.
Matt Cargill, who's an art teacher at Oskaloosa High School in Iowa. By the way, this is what they're saying now in a public, when there's a public. Imagine what they're saying when every day. Anyway, he said Nazi down, referring to Charlie Kirk.
And then we have Austin Schroet, a math teacher at Lake Norman Charter School in North Carolina. Go straight to hell, and then he has a hole, basically bleep hole. And then Joanna Schrader, who is an intervention specialist at Cleveland Heights City School District in Ohio. May you never find rest and always suffer in eternity, Charlie Kirk. That's karma. Imagine her. Imagine that woman, you know. Keep going there, Phil. Who do we have next?
Anne-Marie Donahue, who teaches English at Wachusett Regional High School in Massachusetts. And she's a children's author as well.
Oh, lovely. She's a children's author.
God bless her. You know, so what? Let me see. I assume that she's expressing sympathy and empathy to his children. No, she said, just a reminder, we're not, in caps, all caps, not offering sympathy.
So hateful. Melissa Crook, who is an English teacher in Creston Community School in the district in Iowa. He is a terrible human being. Terrible. I do not wish death on anyone, but him not being here is a blessing. And then we have Katie Allen, who is the principal. She's the principal researcher and doctor of education at Kansas State Department of Education. Now, by the way,
I just want to note she calls herself a doctor of education. That's the same fake doctorate that Dr. Jill Biden has.
Yes,
anyway, that's I digress.
So underneath a headline where somebody had reported, People Magazine, somebody had put up the People Magazine headline, Charlie Kirk, right-wing activist and media personality shot in Utah. And she wrote, Katie Allen, by the way, remember who she is, from Kansas University, well deserved. And then we have also, by the way, in Canada, the Toronto Sun did a report, and it's funny, they're not naming names, but I mean, Toronto Sun are reporting this story. First, they say a University of Toronto professor was sent home for an X post that appeared after the shooting, suggesting shooting is too good for fascists. And now the Toronto District School Board has done the same thing with a teacher who allegedly showed a grade 5 and 6 class Kirk's assassination, showed the actual video.
Again and again. By the way, again and again.
Yes, to 10 and 11-year-olds. Unbelievable. Several students from his class went home, and this is a quote from I'm not sure who this was.
A source close to the situation.
Several students from his class went home and complained to their parents, traumatized at witnessing the on-camera death, which they were forced to witness numerous times over and over. As you said, Phil, a source close to the situation alleged. Parents subsequently reached out to the school administrators, who will be putting him on leave at the start of the school day on September the 12th, 2025. I mean, by the way, and just to stop for a second on this one, we've got a couple more and then we're going to stop with this, but just to stop on that one and realize, you know, that like I'm traumatized by what I saw. Like I saw it by accident. I saw the video by accident. Yes. I think a lot of people saw it by accident because at the very beginning it was being pushed out. It was everywhere. It was absolutely everywhere. If you went online, when Melissa wrote to me and said, she wrote into our group and said, Charlie Kirk has been shot, I went online and it was everywhere. And I as I said, I didn't believe it. And I have to say, and I think I'm right about this. I don't know if you think about this film. I have never seen anyone being shot. I don't think I've actually, not like that. Not in that way. I don't think not like that. I've seen it in the distance, I think, or whatever. If you think about October 7th, when things we've seen from that, but like it's from like very much from a distance. But it's incredibly traumatic for people to see
also,
this. Imagine showing children, Sorry, Phil.
Not someone you know. Also, not you've never
Yeah,
seen. You've met Charlie Kirk. You've
yeah,
been on a panel with him.
yes,
We move in the same circles. Not someone you know.
yes,
Not that close. Not that graphic.
yeah.
I mean, we have to watch these videos. I had to watch the video a number of times, several times, many times, to make sure that it was true. At the beginning,
Mm,
I was trying to look for indications that it was AI, because that's our job.
hmm
It's not. I remember what Jim Woods said about being a police officer
yes,
in Philadelphia.
in
He said
Philadelphia.
there's a famous quote about being a, a police officer in Philadelphia. It's a free ticket to the greatest show, or the biggest show on earth. And he says it is an incredible show. I'm not sure it's a free ticket though. I'm not
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
it
There's a
doesn't take.
cost. There's a
There's a
cost to
cost to
watching
it.
this kind of stuff.
Yes.
The next one then
S-
we have is meet John Marks, who is he is a professor at UNC Charlotte, advocating for violent murder. He's sad that Charlie Kirk wasn't tortured. Remember, this guy is a professor. He's an
yes. Well, he
emeritus
actually said
professor of. Just to tell you who he is, John
yes.
Marks. He's an emeritus professor of anthropology. Anthropology at UNC Charlotte.
Yes.
And he basically, sorry, Phil, did you want to say something there?
Yes, he said, bleep Charlie Kirk, F Charlie Kirk. I'm just sad he didn't suffer longer. That's what he said. And he's got that last time I looked at had 1 million views.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And
and
then
then,
of course, we have to have Los Angeles, right, Phil?
yes,
So Eric Travis, who is a teacher at the Fairfax High School in Los Angeles, California, openly called for more violence. He said far-right bleep holes have a target on their backs and deserve to die. One down, millions to go. I just want to go back and just remind people again. This guy is a teacher at a high school in Los Angeles. And this is not a message that he sent to a friend on a text. He
yes,
published this, if you like. Nowadays, when you put stuff on social media, he has published this. So he's without shame. And I think you're making the point. Like, if he's put that out there, like, how does this guy normally talk? And how does he talk to children? What way is he talking to children? And as somebody wrote there, is this allowed? Are you allowed to do this? We don't have too many more of these, but there's a ton of them out there. Like, there's a ton of them out there.
We'll wrap up with the final one, and then I want to talk about the wider what this means for people.
Yeah.
So the last one is a middle school teacher at Forest Grove. I mean, this is
middle school teacher.
Homeschool your children, or if you don't, I think there should be cameras in classrooms on the teachers.
Yeah. Why not? By the way, like, why not?
Why not?
Because there's no privacy, really. What's the privacy with the teacher? Like, I mean, and I was a teacher. It's like, yeah, let parents be, aware of what they're teaching. And by the way, there's a whole conversation to be had about that, because during COVID, that was a huge thing that happened, where suddenly parents became aware of the way the teachers spoke, because they'd walk past a bedroom or whatever, or they'd walk past the living room and the kid would be there, being taught, and they'd hear what the teacher was saying, and they're like, what? Your teacher said that? But yeah, tell us about this guy, Phelan.
This is John Colgan, with that Irish name.
Hearing
that he's a middle school teacher at Forest Grove School District in Oregon. Hearing that Charlie Kirk got shot and died really brightened up my day. Nobody deserves it, but some are asking for it.
So basically, and the last time we checked, by the way, over 250,000 people had read John Colgan's thing. So yeah, so I mean, I think the point we're one thing we want to say is it is everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere, in the schools and in the universities. But it's not just there, right, Phil?
Well, I suppose I think the point is, why are young people celebrating it? Well, that's what their teachers are saying.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they? And then you got to look at the wider community. It's everywhere. It's not just in the education system.
It's doctors, it's
nurses. I mean, it's people working in hospitals. It's the
people working in banks,
crowd.
People working in shops. It's everywhere. Like,
it's
as I said,
the Be Kind crowd are all doing it. Even that horrible rap artist in Britain, Bob Dylan, who used to chant death to the IDF, who used to chant death to the IDF. He well, let's actually play a little clip of him.
I want to dedicate this next one to an absolute piece of shit of a human being. The pronouns was, were.
So my point is, it's everywhere in the culture, and
Yes.
this is new. This is new. It is new, right? It is
It's
unusual,
so
but actually,
global. It's so kind of global, right? It's
but
like a
it's not
global
new. I
thing.
was thinking about it. It's not new to me, right? And as we were saying earlier, it's so widespread. High, low culture, educated, uneducated. Um, they're disturbing. Um, and that reminds me of growing up in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, where people celebrated the deaths of others.
Yes.
They wrote songs and sang songs about killings and killers.
Yep.
They made jokes about the deaths of the other side. And this was before social media, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
wrote graffiti on walls, but they also, that was the low culture graffiti. But let's remember, they commissioned and produced these beautiful, large murals glorifying death and destruction. And it's not to say that everyone in Northern Ireland approved. In fact, I would say the majority strongly, strongly disapproved and condemned it. But a significant minority, mostly on the nationalist side of the community, but also on the loyalist side of the community, it happened to a lesser extent.
They celebrated.
They celebrated it. And it got me thinking, well, why were normally good living people not disgusted by this?
Yes.
But in some respects, okay with it. And in other respects, many people were in full-throated supporters of it, right? And it got me like, so why am I condemning? Why am I shocked at these young people and the teachers and I mean, Christy Moore, who is a national treasure in Ireland now, as a singer, he sang songs about about prisoners in the H blocks and about people, hunger strikers, and these were killers. These were people who were prepared to kill for their beliefs and
I
killed
think when you
people
say
for their
that,
beliefs.
so when Phelan mentions H block, so this was. Do you want to explain the H blocks?
Yeah,
Phelan? People who wouldn't know.
the prison where all the IRA and loyalist terrorists and prisoners were held. So he's a national treasure now, Christy Moore, but he sang songs glorifying these people. And I was thinking about it. Well, why were people in Northern Ireland not more opposed to this? And I realized it's because the people who did that, they were at war, or they felt they were at war. And when you're in war, you dehumanize the enemy and you celebrate their death. In some respects, you have to do this in order to fight the war, because most people don't want to kill the other person, right? It's a bit of a task, it's to
But
get people.
But you can kill the enemy, isn't that it? Really, right?
You can kill if you see your community celebrating killing the enemy, if you see them dehumanizing the enemy, if you're part of that, then it becomes easier to propagate the war. So people in Northern Ireland believed they were at war, or they believed they were at war. So therefore, that's why they were celebrating the death. So that means that the people who are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk in America and around the world, they believe they are at war with us. They believe they are at war with the other side of America. They have dehumanized us, and whether that's by calling us
Well,
Nazis.
I think if you call, if you call your opponents Nazis continuously, the word Nazi has completely lost all of its strength. You're calling Charlie Kirk a Nazi. This is madness. This is complete madness. Or Hitler. It's madness.
Hitler.
It couldn't be more wrong. And it's actually it's lessening how appalling Hitler was, because it's like, if some nice neighbor of yours is Hitler, like, no, Hitler actually killed millions and millions of people intentionally. Charlie Kirk was going on campuses trying to argue and debate with students about important issues, about important things. And by the way, and he's doing it, and he was doing it, past tense, and he was doing it because the colleges won't allow debate. They won't allow free speech, basically. In many places, they don't allow free speech.
But that's what we know, Anna. We have to look at what they are thinking.
Yes.
Right? That's what we know, right? We know this. we have to look at what they are thinking. We have to think about why they are celebrating, because if they knew that, if they knew the truth about Charlie Kirk and about the other side, they wouldn't be celebrating, right? But so they're celebrating. That's a fact, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a couple of mentally ill people who you feel sorry for, or actually you feel some sympathy for because they're not in their right mind. This is widespread. This is the good, the good and the great and the not so great and the disinterested and the interested. So they are at war with us, and we are not at war with them. Now they may think that we're not. Like, we're not. There's no one's. And I had dinner with during the week with someone. I'll keep it very vague. A young woman, a very young woman, a mild-mannered young woman. And funny, that was what she said to me was, they are at war with us, and we need to know this. And she said we need to declare war on them. I'm not saying that's the solution. It's not the solution, but we need to understand that the other side are at war with us, and this war is going to continue. Now, how we react to that is we need to discuss that, because it's very serious. But you have to go. I would love if they didn't think like that. I would love if that was not their attitude. I would love it if this was just a few mentally ill people, but not. It's so widespread. They are at war with us. So we have to understand that. We have to know that they want to destroy us. And when I say they, I'm talking about this wide swathe of leftist belief in this country. And I don't know whether it's 10%, 20%, 30%, 40% of leftists in America, of Democrats, but it's a lot. It's not an insignificant minority.
No,
so
it's a lot.
so we, people out there, understand they are at war with us, and that's why they can celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk. So you need to accept that. You need to understand that. This person I had dinner with said they're at war with us. Trump needs to outlaw Antifa. He needs to outlaw BLM. He needs to outlaw all these organizations and seize their financial assets, put the leadership in prison, RICO them, organize, these are organized groups campaigning for the destruction of individuals. I don't have solutions, but I think before we start talking about the solutions, we have to be honest about where we are. We are in the middle of a one-sided war, and you need to recognize that before you can decide what we're going to do. And I think you want to talk about one aspect of this war that we're in, the free speech aspect of it. But how do we handle people who say vile things if we are free speech absolutists, as so many on our side are? So talk about that.
Well, I mean, what's happened since the assassination is that certain people have lost their jobs, and it's all over the internet. People have had disciplinary action. One of those people that we mentioned there, was going to be suspended when they came to work on Monday.
Yes.
And I would be in favor, particularly if a teacher is advocating violence. I think that's a problem. Parents would have a massive problem with that at an elementary or a high school where the teacher has been publicly celebrating assassinating an innocent person. There's a thing about moral character and etc. that you would expect from teachers. Teachers can't be like drunk on the job or whatever, or dangerous driving, or certain character things, including, I would have thought, advocating for assassinating somebody who has a different opinion than you. I think it's fair enough to lose your job for that. I don't know how widespread. I don't know how much you extend that, but do you want to have a nurse taking care of you in a hospital? You happen to be wearing your MAGA T-shirt or your MAGA hat or whatever,
yes.
or you've got some kind of identifying piece of clothing. Do you want that nurse being someone who thinks that your death, slow death, and torture would be okay? Is that acceptable? And I think the answer is no. So I don't know if, so I think free speech absolutists, and I don't know if you're a free speech absolutist, Phelan, but I think that's legit. I think it's legitimate to lose your job. You can't shout your mouth off and be a teacher. I think you can't actually.
Right,
I think,
but
because you're, even when you're not in the classroom, you are, you have to set some kind of standards. And publishing, you see, this is kind of a new thing, because when I was teaching, there was no social media. So there's social media now. So you've published something encouraging people to violence, and I think there's a problem with that.
okay. Well, what about? Okay, I mean, of course, there's two aspects of it, right? What about the non-teachers? What about if you're a university lecturer, right? There's those people, right? So you're supposed to have absolute free speech, and that's what tenure was for, was to protect. But of course, it's not a two-way street.
No, that's the problem, right? That's actually the problem. Yes, if there was
It's
somebody allowed to say the other thing on the other side, or allowed to
yes.
defend themselves, then that'll be fine. But the problem is that the free speech on the college campus doesn't exist. It just does not
Yes,
exist.
it does not exist. So this is what the leftist set up was, where free speech is for leftists, but not for conservative. If you're conservative, we know many conservatives who have lost their job for not bowing to the DEI, not bowing to BLM, and so this is them, to use a phrase they've used about Charlie Kirk. This is them reaping what they've sowed, and then there's the people who did not advocate violence, but who made horrible and vile comments about Charlie Kirk deserving to die, or reaping what he sowed, or not encouraging violence but justifying it, or being insulting and vile towards Charlie Kirk. Where do we go with free
Mm-hmm.
speech on that? And of course, if free speech had existed in America up until this, we would have a very simple task here today. We would say, let the chips fall where they may. We believe in absolute free speech. But our friend and actress, Gina Carano, who starred in our movie, My Son Hunter, had her life ruined, had her art
Mm-hmm.
taken from her for a political tweet, which was
Yes.
espousing a political philosophy that was actually very prescient.
Yes.
That saying that the current atmosphere and where we were going had reminiscences of 1930s Germany.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk, the murder of those children in that school by a trans-identified shooter. Listen, the assassination the attempted assassination of President Trump. Gina Carano's tweet was actually politically very prescient.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And there was nothing vile or upsetting or hurtful in it. And so,
and if it wasn't for Elon Musk, and the power that he has with all his money to defend her and to stand by her and say, look, I'm going to stand by you, and we'll bring this to the legal process to the nth degree. Most people cannot afford that, but he could, and he stood by her, and because of that, Disney had to they had to behave themselves, and they had to settle, and I hope she got a big lump of money, but she's not getting her life back anytime soon.
I mean, the damage was done. She was on the up. She was going to be a star, actually. She was going to be a star, and it's hard to get that back.
Yes.
And so I kind of lost my train of thought there. But
well, the other thing, funny enough, actually, then I'll take that opportunity to say that there's another post that I thought was really sad that was circulating online, and it's a screen grab of the Facebook of the mother of Tyler Robinson. It shows him, and he's 10 years old, and he's sitting in a quite dark room, but obviously you can see from outside that it's a really bright day, but they've got the shutters have been closed, and he's got the computer open, and he's 10. He's either 9 or 10 years old, and his mother, Amber Jones Robinson, says, "Almost forgot Tyler. He can totally avoid us now that he got all of the computer accessories he's been wanting." And I do think that unfettered access to the internet for young people is not working out great. The lesser version of it is that they're just stuck their heads all the time into the computer, and they're not getting out, and they're not playing and living their lives, and they're very, very isolated, and that's bringing an awful lot of anxiety and all kinds of other stuff. But I just think that picture of that boy as a young, very, very young person being left in a room and shielding himself from the daylight to do whatever on the internet. And I mean, the portal, it's like the internet's like a portal. The computer is like a portal. into everything, the most awful, obviously very beautiful things and fabulous things that the rest of us are accessing. But you're a
Yes.
child,
Yeah.
and you've got whatever kind of weird thinking you have when you're a kid. You have access to all of this horrific stuff. And most parents, they have no idea how bad it is out there. And I just think I found that photograph really, really sad.
Yeah. Did we come to a conclusion about free speech?
I think if you're working in certain environments, there are certain behaviors that are expected of you. And maybe,
Yes.
in certain environments, you have to probably give up some freedoms, actually,
Yes.
in certain
Of
environments.
speech.
And but you give it up voluntarily. And then you say
As
to
a
yourself, you know what,
contract.
it's a contract, basically. But then you decide, you know what, I hate this. I hate the restrictions on me because I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm actually going to give up this job as a teacher. I'm giving up this job as a lecturer, whatever it is.
Yes.
I'm not going to be a nurse because I actually want to get into this, as you say, into this
Yes.
war full time, and I want to
Yes.
say whatever I like. But I do think you have responsibilities
Actually,
if you're caring for other people or if you're a teacher.
it's funny. Funny you should say. There's two things. There was a video there recently on this Irish group I'm on of an Israeli woman giving a complicated birth in Ireland, and the doctor during the complicated birth
Oh yeah.
Decided to use that opportunity to lecture her about the genocide in Gaza while this Israeli woman was in Ireland giving birth. But the second point I want to make is actually we don't have unfettered freedom of speech. You and I, we
No.
run a 501c3.
Yes.
We are
That's right.
the law about our 501c3 is we're not allowed to back specific candidates for election. We're not allowed to
Yes.
recommend or advocate for.
But
or,
we've said fine. So we've, as you say, we've made that contract. We've said we will take the 501c3 status, and we understand what we're giving up,
and we get
we're
benefits.
Like, we're good. We get benefits to the 501c3, but we're like, basically, we're good with it. We're like, you know what? It's fine. We actually don't, as journalists, it's not really what we want to do anyway. We don't want to
Yes.
really be saying, vote for this guy, make sure this guy gets elected. We're definitely not doing that. But we're very happy, though, to tell you all about the guy who is going for election and the things that people maybe should know about him. But we're not advocating one way or the other how people should vote. But Phelim, this kind of brings us to the end of the podcast, and it brings us to where we're going to be going next week. But I think, I suppose, for both of us, I think I should say it's been a terrible week, and it's been a terrible week for everybody we know.
Yes.
It's been terrifying. People have. I didn't sleep the first night. I didn't sleep at all. The second day, I cried the next day. As you say, Phelim, we've met this guy. It's horrific. And by the way, it's terrorism. We're terrified because if they can do it to him, they can do it to anyone. And there's something. It has terrified people. Over these last few days, I've had some of our donors, some of our supporters being in touch. People just wanting to talk to each other because they're just terrified and frightened, and they just want to reach out and sort of say, and people were phoning I was getting phone calls, people saying, I love you. I got a most beautiful note from someone, I won't say who it was, Phil, but somebody who had come to the court when we were in Washington, D.C., to the D.C. court, a lovely lady. And she wrote the most beautiful message, thanking us for the work that we did. And I was really, and we got a few more of those messages, by the way, which was really lovely because it's been a terrible time.
Yes.
For us, because we are kind of in the trenches, and we've faced our own threats in the past, but nothing. Obviously, this is just it's really gobsmacking, and it's terrible. And all those pictures that we're seeing all the time of him, and we're going to put up some photographs there of him with his beautiful wife and two gorgeous children, who will never get to enjoy their dad, growing up. It's just it's really, really horrific. And his wife has been very brave. And fantastic. And Usha. And JD Vance have been just extraordinary. The whole thing has been, but it's very tough and it's very frightening. I think we just want to say that. And having said that, we are going to be going to a campus ourselves this week, right, Phelim?
Yes, we're going to Bowdoin College in Maine on Thursday, September the 18th. We're going to show, there's going to be a stage reading of October 7, the play. We went to Israel after October 7, after the October 7 massacres, interviewed dozens of people there, brought all the stories together into a play. It's 100% verbatim, the script, no editorializing, no added drama. We're going there because it's never been more important to bring the truth to college campuses. And, it's easy to say we can't let them win, but sometimes you feel like letting them win, but we gotta be strong. We gotta bring the truth. We can't let these people win. It's shocking, and it's, I hope that it doesn't cut down free speech in America.
Yeah,
I hope that it doesn't stop people going there. I hope that
there is a chilling effect. There is a chilling effect, and it's
totally.
it's the idea behind it is that'll shut you up. Well, it's not going to shut us up.
No.
And we will see people. Hopefully, a lot of people will come to the performance at Bowdoin College in Maine, and we look forward to that.
Send the link. It's www.October7 Bowdoin BOWDOIN.com. That's October 7 Bowdoin BOWDOIN.com. You can register there. It's free, but you should register. You can actually turn up on the night, but it's to make sure you get a seat and to make sure that we know the numbers. Please register, and we'll see you there. We're going to be there.
So take care. And we're sending lots of love to all the people who support us. We're very grateful for the love and support for all these years, and we're going to be around for a lot more, but we're very, very sorry for this awful week we've all had.
Yes. So thank you, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.